So we got a cold front coming into this week. It's supposed to start getting really cold Wednesday night and stay that way on into through the weekend and into, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. We still have carrots growing in one of our hugel beds down there. So to kind of give them a fighting chance, we're going to rig up a dirt cheap and pretty creative low tunnel hoop house kind of thing. Killing two birds with one stone because those blasted cottonwood trees are starting to grow back behind the big barn.
What?
A tunnel greenhouse is a simple solution to cold weather coming in, and you don't need a lot of fancy stuff to build one. I went out and I cut some small, spindly, flexible baby cottonwood branches out of that mess out behind the big barn that you all saw me hogging on about this time last year. And all I'm doing is stripping the little sucker branches off of them and kind of persuading them to arch over in the direction that I want them to, cutting them to length. I'm trying to keep a consistent spacing of about one every 8 to 10 inches or so. I'm not being super scientific about it. And all I'm doing is sticking both ends into the ground and trying not to put my face over them when the little end decides to spring out. That's not a big deal though, because once I get all the way down to where I'm over all of these carrots, we're going to put some clear 3mm plastic over them and weight that down, and once that's all done, the plastic and the weights will keep everything in place. Okay, so here's our basic structure. Just those spindly cottonwood sticks, stripped of all the extra little pokey branches, and bent over and stuck into the ground. For our coverage, we're going to use this clear plastic mattress cover. Free. Everything here didn't cost nothing. Well, except the carrot seeds. I think I paid about $1.50 a package for those last summer. Anyway, cool thing about these carrots, I actually planted them in late August, just out of curiosity. And this is how far they've gotten so far over the winter. And here we are, it's the 5th of January. And this is the first time I've covered them or anything. And even that's only just because we've had a pretty... Every damn time. We've had a pretty mellow winter this year. So I'm covering them up just to give them a little bit of protection from some pretty cold weather that we've got coming.
So we're putting things on the plastic to hold it down. What?
Just dial back the enthusiasm a little bit.
When I put my hands in my gloves, they get really, really cold, so I don't want to put my gloves on.
Alright, we're getting there. A few more pieces, I think. I think my nipple is pushing buttons on my... Yep.
So, yeah.
And there you have it. Handy little low tunnel. I didn't obviously go into a lot of detail on the construction of it because, well, it's bending sticks. Okay, it's not exactly nuclear engineering. So, like I said before, the hoops are just made out of cottonwood sticks, green cottonwood sticks, that I had to cut down anyway, so no extra effort or expense there. And the clear plastic cover is a mattress bag. I just split down both long sides and across one end. It seems like it's actually a little bit heavier than 3mm plastic, so it very well might last out this season and still be usable next year. Now, for the rest of this, I might have to wait till Katie comes back to putting the dog in the house because I'm going to need both hands. You done farting around?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
recording.
On the thing. Okay, so
It's a hole, everybody.
it's daytime right now, okay? And everything on the ground is around 43 degrees. And we're in the waning days of a warm Pacific Northwest winter. It's actually going to start getting cold over the next few days. But I dug a hole here all the way down. Get down in the hole, Katie. See if they can see. I don't know if you can see or not, but I actually dug all the way down to where the wood's starting to rot.
No, they can't.
Damn it. Get on the... Come on.
It's not gonna read it.
Well, it's
too bright.
No, I think I'm wiggling.
Well, either way, it reads 44.5 degrees.
All the way up to 49. Way down there in the bottom, that wood is rotting, and it's actually putting off heat that's keeping this raised bed warm. Hence why those carrots have been growing all winter. Now, theoretically, what we've just done by covering the tops with plastic is we should be trapping at least a little bit of that heat that the dirt around the carrots is shedding off, especially if we manage to get it sealed up good around the edges. Time will tell on that one. But we're going to check back on this in a couple of weeks and see if it did any good. The cold snap is due to start Wednesday night and last through next Tuesday. So, yeah. If I feel up to it, I might come out here and see what we got for a temp during the cold snap. Well, it's still snowing. And I'm sick of being stuck in the house. And we are above single-digit temperatures. Finally. So, because I'm bored, I'm going to see if my crazy-ass idea for the carrots actually worked, or if I just have a very interestingly shaped snow fort. I got a little bit of digging to do first. Oh, cold and frozen. Well, shit, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, can we... Whoa! I see green. Hey, I got a corner loose. There we go, there we go. Now, I don't have to worry too much about killing them by doing this because even though appearances may suggest otherwise, we're actually well above freezing today. It just won't stop flipping snowing. enough of this snow off that I can flip the plastic up. And let's have a... Wow, it actually feels warm in there. And I also remembered to grab my temperature gun. So let's start with seeing what this thing has to say. 37 degrees under the plastic. And about 35 outside. Okay. Is that enough? Oh, we've got wiltage. Okay. Well, they don't look great. At least not what I can see on this end. Stick you guys in there to get a look back towards the back. I won't be able to see that until I plug this into the computer, but... However, stuff is still alive in here. But I think single digits during the day and high negatives overnight might be asking a little too much for something like this, something this simple. But looking at these, they almost look like they might come back. We'll have to check back in on them in a couple of weeks after the weather warms up and see. Well, I'm not going to call it a failure yet, because even though those tops do look a little bit puny, they're still nice and green. Didn't see any obvious yellowing or any signs that everything is completely dead yet. And those carrots did take a pretty good beating over the last few days, about a week. There were a few nights where we got down just like 1 or 2 degrees below zero. And fortunately, I'm not relying on those carrots. It's a matter of, if they mature and they're ripe and I can pick them in the spring and can them up or snack them to death or whatever, great. Mostly this whole experiment's been about me figuring out my growing season exactly, like what I can get away with just with stuff out in the open, what I can get away with a little bit of coverage, to really maximize the amount of production that I can get out of my little zero budget garden over the course of a year. Because the more you can grow, the less you got to buy. And the less you got to buy, the more money you got for screwing around. And let's face it, nobody really screws around enough nowadays. I think my homemade low tunnel thing, though, does have some potential. Obviously, I was asking a lot of it through this cold snap, but I think a month or two, once we're done with the freezing weather, if those carrots have completely bit the dust, I don't see any reason that I couldn't use the same technique to get an early jump on some stuff, And we're going to be playing around with low tunnels and stuff like that some more in the next coming months, and maybe even into this fall, because the other thing that has crossed my mind since I did that a couple of weeks ago is, what if I had covered them back in October when we first started getting the cooler nights? What would that have done to the growth and maturity rate? Because one thing I have observed is while the carrots were developing right up until the plastic went on a couple of weeks ago, they were developing very, very slowly. So I'm almost wondering if I couldn't have had mature carrots by then, if I had covered them up, say, late September, early October. That's something to play around with this fall. The whole point of the zero budget garden is it's an experiment. It's a work in progress. It's what can I get away with, what can't I get away with, and even if I lose those carrots, it's still going to be a win because I'll have learned something. So we'll check back in on it in a few weeks, see what we got going on. Till then, stay warm.